Mountains of Madness, which takes place in Antarctica. About a expedition that goes over and they find this hidden city, and I definitely recommend you check it out. But it's interesting. It came out right around this time, the era that we're going to talk about. He wrote that story in 1936, and then and it makes me wonder if a certain Hitler man was reading his stories or something. But so basically, we're going to talk today about the Nazis supposedly going into Antarctica, creating bases underground, supposedly having anti-gravity technology, UFOs, that kind of stuff. Ensuing U.S. mission that went out to Antarctica, and we're just going to get into all that stuff. It's really weird. I think Steven knows a bit about this. Wait, we got two Stevens. You're both Steven.
Oh, wow.
Okay. You can call me SJG. Just call me SJG, and you call him Steven.
Okay. So we all, I think, have a pretty good.
It's a great name, though.
On this. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Definitely.
Go ahead.
Let me bring up my notes here. See where we're gonna start. So, basically, the Germans they claimed to have colonized Antarctica. We don't actually. People today say that it's all bunk. Just so you all know, they supposedly found an underground cavernous kind of an area that was warm, had shrubbery. They were able to build structures in there, and let's see, the admiral who actually went over there and did all this, there's some famous quotes from him. He said, "My submarines have found a true paradise on Earth. At the other end of the world, we've made an impregnable citadel, a paradise-like oasis in the middle of eternal ice." It almost sounds like H.P. Lovecraft wrote that, by the way. But so let's start with that. What do you guys know about that? What do you think about it?
Go, Steven.
Well, I mean, I the whole World War II futuristic weapons, Nazi thing is really hard to figure out, because I mean, I personally think that no modern event is more layered and shrouded in secrecy than World War II. There's a lot of different angles of, from the 20 years before and the 20 years after. I'm not sure. I mean, like, if they found shrubbery, if they found greenery in Antarctica, you're talking almost about some, journey to the center of the earth stuff. If in that book they go through the earth and they find another world basically on the other side. So is it cold down there? I mean, I definitely believe the Nazis had technology. They say that governments are usually 30 or 40 years ahead of the people with their weapons and things like that. So I would believe it, but I just don't. It's very hard to get to the truth. So I'm interested to ask you how you do your research, and how do you come to your conclusion? It's hard to get to a conclusion. I guess that's my point, but it's very interesting and definitely plausible.
Yeah, I honestly on this one, if I'm being completely transparent, is I don't know a lot about when we're talking about Antarctica in the sense of the underground bases and whatnot. I have not done a ton of study on that. So for me to be able to speak really intelligently to that, that's going to be a little bit difficult for me, I think. But,
well, we could just talk about the coolness of the idea.
Yeah.
And then, I can add some stuff into that. And the stuff that's disputed. So supposedly, I might as well just kind of lay it all out then, and then we'll go from there. So I talked about the admiral basically coming out and saying all these quotes, which I don't think are disputed. Although I think if you read fact checks now about it, they say that the admiral could have been talking about the Arctic instead and not Antarctica, actually. And they actually did find bases, Nazi bases in the Arctic, but they were like radio stations or something. So as far as that's like the hard evidence. But there's all these caverns and stuff that are like kind of made into the ice from the warm water. But anyway, so supposedly they started base 211, and there's actually, let me see if I can bring them up here. There actually was not New York Times articles back when this was all going on.
Wow.
I can
this
bring
was in
it
the
up
New York
here.
Times back in the day?
Yeah, it actually was.
Very, very interesting. So
Yeah, and you know what? Oh, okay, there we go.
So
Go ahead.
so Operation High Jump was the American Antarctic
Yeah, I was gonna
training mission,
right.
but how did they? So did they go by submarine or by plane when they went to Antarctica?
There we go. So you're talking about the Nazis,
yeah.
the Nazis. Okay, so in the 19 whenever they supposedly did in 1938, 39, they took a naval fleet, some aircraft, and submarines. I think it was this admiral was a submariner, so he was in a submarine. Here's this base.
You're cutting out to me. I can't hear you.
So you throwing like a map up there?
I can't hear Drone Tech right now.
Yeah, me neither. Drone Tech, you there?
You there, dude?
You guys can't hear me?
Now we can.
Yeah, now we can. Yeah, you cut out. Okay. We couldn't hear you.
Weird. Okay, so right now I got this article up, this New York Times article. So it's at least proof that at some point they were talking about that there was a repair shop at Deception Bay. So there was some sort of a base set up there to repair naval, submarines or whatever. Nazi base reported in Antarctica area, and that was in 1941. And so it says, and this is about Byrd. They blew it up actually. Byrd makes disclosure. Admiral at Boston greets ship returning with members of U.S. expedition. So, I mean, that's pretty good evidence of it right there that it happened. There was some sort of conflict between a Nazi, base of some kind. We do know that they lost some people, a couple people. I talked about Byrd saying something about, some sort of a craft that they encountered. So, I mean, it seems like something really weird happened there. Let's see what else we got here.
Well, see, and the thing is, while you're looking that up, hey, Steven, can you turn your mic up a little bit? I had somebody say it was a little low. It's a little low for me, too. If you could bring that up a little bit.
How's that? Is that better? Better?
A little more.
Okay, I got to go and do it in Discord.
Okay, yeah, that is better. But I don't know much about this. The one interesting thing, so the one thing that I'm more versed on, like, which kind of in a way has a crossover, is like on the moon landing stuff, right? That's the stuff where I have a little more, I could talk a little more intelligently on that. What I found interesting is before the first trip to the moon, some scientists from NASA and the crew, I don't know if it was the first crew, maybe it was the first, I think it was the first before the first trip to the moon. It could have been before the second one, so don't quote me on that. But the astronauts and a select hand-picked group of scientists from NASA made a trip to Antarctica a year before they went to the moon. And still to this day, that no one will discuss why they went, what they were doing there, what the purpose of the trip was. None of it. Which now there's something interesting to add to that, is that when they came back, obviously they brought, one of the proofs is that we have moon rocks, that we went to the moon. Well, Antarctica and some, the poles of the Earth, but especially Antarctica, is especially rich in asteroid impacts, smaller asteroid impacts. So you can get, it's a good spot to go and get space rocks, basically, is up in the Antarctic region. And so, one of the things that's kind of was alluded to was the fact that they were possibly gathering rocks when they went up there to pass off as the moon rocks that they brought back. Because when they got back, one of the debunking things on the moon landing is they were very, very stingy on who they would give these rocks out to, right? Or who they would loan the rocks out to. But they loaned the rocks out to, I want to say it was Switzerland or it was some, Netherlands-esque or, Dutch area country. I can't remember right off the top of my head. And many years later, they had that rock tested, and they could prove that the rock was actually just wasn't an actual moon rock. And so that was a huge kerfuffle. That it was like, wait a minute, NASA, you gave us these rocks saying they were moon rocks, and they aren't moon rocks. And then that story got pushed down, and it was all hush hush. But I find it interesting that before they went to the moon, 1 year before they went to the moon, they made NASA scientists and the astronauts made a trip to Antarctica. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, is that the one with the petrified wood?
Yeah.
Weren't those some of the moon rocks that we gave to them basically petrified wood from Earth?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of if you ask for my take that I'm sure of, it's kind of just there's layers and layers of conspiracies and psyops and disinformation about most of this stuff, and it's very hard to formulate a solid conclusion on it. Like from that time period, I think there was all kinds of collaboration and double crossing going on. I mean, we imported the Nazi scientists
right
for NASA, So yeah, would I believe there's something going on? I mean, John Kerry flew to Antarctica on election night 2016.
Is that true?
To research climate change.
Wow.
And he said he found conclusive proof that climate change is irreversible and real.
That's so funny, dude.
He's still trying to fix it. If it's irreversible, then So I just think the game being played is multi-generational. It's and we don't get to know on our own. It takes a lot of research and all that stuff.
And that's kind of why, when it's. Oh, go ahead, Drone.
Well, I just wanted to say that's really interesting, actually. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I put it on voice activate. That's really kind of interesting about what you were talking about there. You might have something. There's a lot of weird stuff that was going on actually around that. Right now we have a treaty there that was, I thought I had when it was established here, but we basically have a treaty in Antarctica with most of the world. It's 48 nations. Okay, it was signed in June of 1961, and then NORAD was commissioned. They started building that in May of 1961, which is kind of strange.
Say that again.
I don't know if it's connected.
Yeah, that time period is just so shrouded.
It's completely shrouded.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when globalism really started. It might have started 100 years ago, yo.
I think it did.
Everybody knows what NORAD is, right?
Yes.
In case you don't, it's in Cheyenne Mountain. It's an underground base essentially. It's under the mountain. It's huge, actually. They have 2 12-story buildings in there and 13 3-story.
Can I say something to that real quick on Cheyenne Mountain?
Yeah.
That's where General Mikashanasi or Mckinnon, I forget his name. He's some Scottish or Irish name. I don't know why I can't pronounce it, but that's when the beginning of COVID kicked off. Are you talking about Granite Mountain up in Colorado? Is that the same spot?
In Colorado Springs is where NORAD is.
Yeah, right. And it's the granite inside the Granite Mountain. That's where I believe the general for the continuity of government. Basically, he went in right in the beginning of COVID last year. He went into he and his I don't know what you'd call, but platoon or. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. But anyways, they went into the mountain during that whole time, and everyone was speculating, why the hell is this dude going into the bomb-proof bullet, or nuclear bomb-proof inside the center of the mountain right before the COVID stuff kicked off. And he would have been, essentially, if anything happened to the president, the one in charge of the country under martial law. He was the one in charge of the country. Maybe that plays into the whole Q thing that people are like, he's still there, and Donald Trump is still our president. maybe that's what that plays into. I don't know.
We shouldn't even be saying that letter on this channel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the 17th. You're right. Well, I feel like.
What's that called? What is that? Fed posting? Is that what that's called?
I don't know.
I've heard that banded around. Hey, I wanted to throw it out there real quick. There's a couple other weird things about that. I know you were saying it is a weird era, it is. But Dwight D. Eisenhower, he was outgoing in 61, and that's when he gave his farewell speech where he did the military complex speech. Yeah, so that's kind of weird too.
Where where did he give it?
His farewell address from the White House when he gave, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, right.
He warned about in the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence sought or unsought by the military-industrial complex. The potential for disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. But anyway, so there's this whole weird thing that happened around that time. He went missing for a day on a golf vacation in Palm Springs. Do you guys know about this? Yeah, so all right, so he went missing for a day, and it was all big in the media, and they reported him dead of a heart attack. It was this big thing. Oh, he's dead. He went on vacation. He's dead. Then 2 hours later, they redacted it and announced that he was alive, and that he had just chipped his tooth and he was at the dentist.
These people, man, they're ridiculous. Like,
but
the deep state is so ridiculous.
Like it's always been there.
What's more ridiculous though is that we have, it's been normalized to the point that half of the country just thinks we're the crazy ones that we're calling this out. It's like the destinies of the world and these kind of dumbasses. I'm sorry, he still bugs me from last night's stream with Rob and all that. But it's like those kind of arrogant assholes. There's half of the country that thinks that if you believe in a conspiracy theorist, you're just a crazy wacko. It's like everything's a fucking conspiracy. And it's not even a conspiracy that it's a conspiracy.
It's just like they say everything's political. Everything's a conspiracy because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, just to finish that off, he supposedly, during that time, the conspiracy is that he was actually meeting with the aliens at Edwards Air Force Base. And they were basically trying to get us to give up our nukes because we were some sort of a danger to other life forms. We could potentially not just blow ourselves up, but do other people harm. And so supposedly he turned down the deal and then met with the Greys and made a deal with them. And then supposedly it's all.
Now I will say, even for my tinfoil hat wearing stuff, when and I'm not saying this isn't true because I'm just like, damn, that is really though great. Almost like that would just make such a great movie, but.
That's Stargate SG-1. We can talk about that if anybody's familiar with that.
I've actually never seen that. I've seen the movie Stargate, but I've never seen that show.
Oh man, you would probably like it if you like this stuff.
Is this the same premise as Stargate the movie, where there's the ring and they got the Egyptians? Okay, cool, sweet.
Yeah, except for it's a great show. I love it. It's like one of my all-time favorites for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the aliens thing is also. I mean, I tend to not believe, like, if there are aliens, I don't think they're afraid of us. I don't think they're afraid of us having nukes. So we don't, mess with the global.
Because they can just wipe us out if we were in danger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, there's many angles on the alien thing. I tend to think that it's either, a government psychological operation or they're just straight up demons. Right. But it's hard to know, especially when, in the last couple of years, the government has said, oh, there's conclusive proof that there's UFOs or that there's aliens. They're priming the pump, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, they are.
I'm with you. They everything I've witnessed for the last 4 years, it's never been more in our faces. It's been like a giant psyop.
Yeah. They don't care.
Like more out in the open than usual, right? It seems
Yeah. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. That's the craziest thing. They're not even trying to hide any of this shit anymore.
Well, it seems to me that if gaslighting, like if they're gaslighting it, the public, that would be part of it, is being in your face about it, right? Well, that would just drives you crazy. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How are you doing this so blatantly? And it's just happening, and nobody. It's okay, and the media lets it go, and
It's funny because Dustin, you know Dustin Gold. Yeah, he and I, we stayed friends after he kind of got kicked out of the chat group or whatever that we had, and because he just got too whatever. But he basically, one of his things that he said, and I have to agree with him, and I think it makes such great sense. Is he's like, if they can't get us to believe everything they say, they get us to not be, they get us to distrust everything they say, so that there's either way it's the same effect, right? That we just don't know what the fuck is going on, and we are chasing our tail all the time, and we just finally give up and be like, whatever, and you just kind of slowly give in to just like, whatever, I guess I'm not even gonna try to figure it out anymore because there's so many rabbit trails. And so I think it's a very good point.
I don't remember who. It's some YouTuber that has this term. He calls it "pissed on breadcrumbs," where it's like Hansel and Gretel, and he's leading with the breadcrumbs, just pissing on it the whole way. And part of it might be true, part of it might not be true, but it leaves you almost like a fog of war situation.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
you just can't figure out anything. It's oversaturation, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Bezimov or whatever talked about. He talked about ideological subversion.
Yuri 2024, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like that. He said that in the 80s that's what they wanted. I mean, he was talking about the KGB, but man, it just seems like our own government's doing it to us.
Dude, I was just listening to James Corbett, right? And I think I said this last night in our streams, but he just came on one of his recent videos and like pointed people to, if you really want to find out what's going on with some, kind of like where we're headed with this whole, like, we're going into war, we're not, like, the whole new paradigm we're going into. Anthony Sutton was somebody that he said you should follow up on and read some of his stuff, but basically he laid out a whole thing that I had never known about, but he laid out the whole narrative that the U.S. actually funded and helped the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, right? And that's not in the mainstream, obviously, news, but it's very verifiable if you dig down into it, is that the U.S. was behind funding the Bolshevik Revolution. And so it's like, here's these terrible commie, Marxist, evil, bad guys that America were totally against. And meanwhile, we're funding their revolution and helping them get, their revolution get off the ground. It's all just subterfuge. It's all subterfuge. Which, by the way, if I may plug my other YouTube channel, is Subterfuge Exposure Experiment. It's SJG SEE. I'll have to pull it up because I don't post anything
SJG,
there.
shoot me some links in Discord and I'll just post them in the description.
Okay, I'll do that. Let me get to it. Yeah.
I meant to do that, but I was just such a hurry. I ran upstairs and I'm like, crap, it's like 5 minutes till I'm supposed to go live.
Well,
so
just throw sjgperspective.com. That's my website. That's the best spot.
Okay.
Anybody can reach me, but I'll throw this other one on there.
It's crazy how this treaty. I was just looking it up. I think there's some people that say that all the countries in the world are in on this Antarctica treaty.
Right, which is odd. Is there anything else that the entire world agrees on? Anything?
No, nothing. It's the only thing. Yeah.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, I think there's secrets there, yo. I mean, there's got to be secrets there.
As far as like just humans in general and the way that we love a mystery, a good mystery.
Yeah.
We love unwrapping presents, right? Human beings love doing that.
Yeah,
and Antarctica is like one giant present, man. It's like covered in a thick layer of ice, and we just want to see what's under there, And our imaginations just go crazy, like with
what is the deal with Antarctica not being able to go up there, though? That I have never dug into that, and I've wanted to, even though I probably should, because it's so massive of a in-your-face conspiracy. But is it true that you're just not allowed to get within certain areas of Antarctica? Yes. It's totally off limits.
Yeah.
You need a pass to get in there. You need from whoever it may be. I don't think I saw a funny meme the other day. It was like, forget storming Area 51. Let's storm Antarctica. And it's like
they can't stop us all.
Right. Well, the cold would probably do most of that, but yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder what would happen if a bunch of people just showed up, which isn't, impossible, but they will not just let you in there. And I imagine if you try to, the military helicopters will show up quickly after that, or you'll die.
Yeah, I do know one person that's been there. He's a military guy. I've had him on my show a couple times, but I don't know what area it is. I mean, what I'm saying is, even if you do go there, now this guy is not a high-ranking guy or whatever, but if you do go there, how do you know that you're in Antarctica? If you're not,
it's just a vast white.
Yeah. I mean, so's northern Canada,
right?
It's just, how do you know, man? It's same thing with the moon or whatever. It's all
good point.
The gatekeeping mechanism they got it locked down,
Yeah.
They have the truth locked down. So how do you even know? You either accept what they're saying or you don't, and I kind of don't.
Yeah.
They have it so locked down they don't even care that we know it. It's like they're like, what are you gonna do about it?
That's what I was gonna say. What they do is they reveal enough of their hand so it's almost obvious to the so-called conspiracy people, but not enough that your average normie doesn't trust them anymore. It's very genius. So
and it's because the average normie doesn't. They just take what they have to say at face value. And when the tinfoil people come in. And we're like, no, look at guys. Think about this. No building has ever fallen at free fall speed into its own footprint before. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like, whatever, dude. That's all been. Oh my God, you're a 9/11 truther or whatever. No, there's no way we could have in the late 60s or 70s gone to the moon. And they're just like, oh my God. And then I usually get followed up with that.
We can talk about the moon, by the way. I love that topic. I find it fascinating, and I wonder why we never. Well, I hope. And I really think that we never did stop going to the moon, but that's another topic we can talk about.
I think we've sent probes there. I wouldn't doubt that we've sent probes there. Now, Steven, like you might even like. Well, I don't know if we want to get into the old that other side of it because the flat stuff.
No, I don't care.
But like I don't understand that. See, that's where people are like. When I say I don't think we went to the moon, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're one of those flat earthers," and I'm like, "No, I believe the Earth is a globe, and I do believe there's an actual moon."
Shit, I don't. I don't think the Earth is a globe. I think the moon is definitely inside of the firmament. Like when you look at it, and the scale and comparison versus the size of it. All kinds of celestial bodies around. You know, the International Space Station is supposedly, this is according to NASA, is twice as big as a 747, and you can see it from the ground. That's impossible. If they talk about how far away the International Space Station is.
What do you mean you can see it from the ground? Like you can just see it as a satellite, like a little, like it looks like a star, though.
And this is what NASA says. They're like that. They point to a thing moving in the sky, and they're like, "That's the International Space Station." So they're wrong about one of the two. Either it's not twice as big as a 747, or that's not the International Space Station. I just also, if you just look at the moon and look at the sun, granted, I'm not a big science guy, but I trust what I look at, and it looks like it's inside of this system. It doesn't look like it's outside of the system. So, and then you can get into what the Bible says about whatever the cosmological model or whatever, and it, and then you could say, oh, but science just knows more now, but does it know more than the Bible? It just. To me, the biblical model of the astrology makes a lot more sense than what Nazis, the SS scientists are saying that hate us and won't let us go to Antarctica. It's like they're lying about so much that I just think that.
So what happens though? I mean,
scientists.
I don't know, and I mean, I do think like when you look at a lot of the pictures, they look funky when you're looking at the Earth from space, right? But I mean, there's some that look pretty freaking legit. Now, any of the pictures that were coming back at the Earth from moon look hilarious to me, right? But
oh man, I love those pictures, man.
They look so ridiculous.
The original Apollo mission.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
No, they look ridiculous.
What?
Like when
I'm going to bring up some of them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when they're supposedly taking pictures of the Earth, it looks so fucking fake to me. It's unbelievable. Now I will say on the flip side, when there's certain pictures from space looking at the Earth, I'm like, oh no, that looks pretty legit. Like, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like. I mean, I guess we're going to be having, of course, it will be only the billionaires. I was about to say there's going to be normal people going up in these trips to, up to the International Space Station, but you're going to have to be in the club to get there too. So we can't really trust their opinion either, I guess. But I don't know, man.
I mean,
dude.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, I've been thinking of that so much lately. I don't know about you guys. That George Carlin quote has really been swirling around in my head because of current events. But, yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the video, Apollo video of the astronauts like jumping around and stuff?
It is
and
the
falling.
Dumbest thing
they
ever.
fall all the time.
It is the dumbest shit ever. I don't know if I'm not allowed to swear or whatever, but it's so dumb what they do. Like, so I mean, like
the rover and stuff. It's awesome.
It's so fake.
It's so fake.
So fake.
Oh, it's so fake. Dude. We took a dune buggy to the moon? Are you kidding me?
Oh man!
Hell yeah, we did.
Oh god, that is so hilarious to me. That's one of the best parts.
worst fictional stories you've ever heard
Yes!
in your entire life. Like, it's one of the dumbest stories. I mean,
Oh.
I mean, if we went to the moon, we didn't go in that way. It's like Nixon phones it in. He's like, "Oh, I'm not a crook. Like, get back to the Earth, guys." You know. And when you look out in these pictures, there's no stars. What are they there?
Well,
you know.
No,
Yeah,
there are
that-
pictures with stars. It's just the stars are washed out by the brightness. It's just
Oh yeah,
overexposure of the surface.
No,
I mean,
that is
because
complete bullshit.
there are you can see stars in the pictures. You can.
No, you
And
can't.
you can
Barely
see like
ever.
cosmic. Like if
No.
you look at this video I have right now, you can actually see like cosmic rays hitting the lens. You can see them
Okay.
like flashing.
Okay, we're gonna do this here.
I
Hang
would
on.
love to see him. Yeah, I want to see him. Yeah, I love looking at this stuff. Even if I'm wrong, it's okay. You're showing it right now.
Oh yeah, I should probably just send you like a link to the video.
No, I'm looking at what you're showing. Okay.
And
so
these
there's-
videos are really cool because like that look at that. Do you guys know how long they had to train to be able to do this, to be able to hop around like this?
Yeah, like in Hollywood. Yes.
Yes, it was a lot. You mean in Laurel
I think this is
Canyon?
not-
You mean in Laurel Canyon?
No, guys, this is
lunar
real.
landing.
Look at the
Oh.
dust when that they kick around. Look at this.
Oh.
Look at this.
I know. Speaking of the
Look at that.
dust, do you understand how corrosive the moon dust is, apparently, and that is one of the problems they say right now. They say right now, one of the reasons why one of the problems we would have to figure out to get back to the moon is what we would do with all the moon dust that would get inside the electronics of the modules when they landed
Well-
on the moon. But we did it in 1969, 7 times flawlessly on the technology of a toaster. But now
Not
today we
flawlessly,
can't do
not
it.
flawlessly.
And they lost the telemetry data.
Telemetry data, all of it.
I think that
Oops.
didn't they say that some dude
Well-
sold it at a garage
Yes!
sale?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. It was
But
at a
that happens,
rummage
man.
sale.
Information is lost. Look at
The
the dark
fucking
ages.
moon
What were the
landing
dark
is
ages?
lost.
At
That
a
is
yard
the
sale.
dude.
Guys, look.
Dude,
It's
hang on,
possible.
No, it's yeah, okay, it is.
Well, let me
And-
tell you something. Let me
and
tell you, I know a
Bigfoot
little
is
something
too.
about this actually.
which
well,
it
look,
might be.
I know that a lot of the footage and audio recordings and stuff that they had from the Apollo missions.
Yeah.
Do you know where they were storing those for years? And an old like rundown McDonald's that had been like abandoned, and they were using it like for storage. And that's where they found like all these old audio recordings and stuff from the Apollo missions. All this stuff they thought was gone. They thought it was lost, but they
Yeah.
found it in a McDonald's. So like it's total. I totally think that's possible. And look, it's pathetic, and it's sad that like we did that in the '60s, and you know I don't know. I think it's totally possible that we could forget how to do that. I mean, that's what
Oh.
the Dark Ages were. We lost all kinds
Dude.
of texts and books.
Dude, here's the
and
thing. Okay,
all
hang on.
the-
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I love you.
No, I'm just saying that like it's totally possible to
Yeah.
forget how to do something like that.
Totally. Totally.
It's come on, guy. Like really,
Dude,
like, you
think
really
about
don't-
this. Think about this. This was the single-handedly the biggest technological event of our history of our lifetime.
Right.
And we
It's
lost.
so documented too.
But I'll get to that. We lost all the biometric data from the astronauts on the trip. We lost all the telemetry data from them on the trip. Now today, even today, when you talk to the NASA scientists who say they want to go back to the moon, they say, well, we have a lot of hurdles to get through. Like, how are we going to go through the Van Allen belt? And also, we would actually now need to launch one rocket up and then launch another rocket up, booster rockets. And then we would, once we're in orbit, in Earth orbit, we'd have to connect with those and then use those booster rockets to get to the moon. And now in 2020, it would take us twice as long to go to the moon as it would back in 1969 when we did it 6 times fucking flawlessly.
Well, let me ask
pretty
you
much
this.
flawlessly. There's no way we did
I mean,
it.
those are good points, but well, look, this footage that I have playing right now, this is upgrade. It's 4K footage,
Okay.
60 frames per second. Check it out, man. Like if this was fake, you could tell it in this footage, man. It's so clear.
Right.
It
That's
looks like it could've been
amazing.
recorded
is
yesterday.
That is New Mexico. like,
Dude.
Oh man.
So
I
here, let me
agree.
tell you about this footage. Do you realize this is an original footage, though, right? Because they lost all this original footage. This footage has been footage that all the original footage of us landing on the moon was lost too, and they never got it. So what the footage that we see
A
now,
lot of stuff is lost.
yeah, right. But the footage here, let me give you one other point. All the footage when people watched when they were landing on the moon, when we watched it live, not we, but when the people that were around at the time watched it live, none of that footage was getting fed through from the moon to directly to the people. It was coming from the moon allegedly
Right.
to NASA,
Yeah.
right? And then they filmed with a camera off of the monitors all of the footage that everybody else in the world watched. It was secondhand recycled footage. So nobody ever actually, and then they lost all of the original footage. Oops, our bad. We lost it. So this footage that you're watching
Well,
right now.
there's lots of examples of that too.
Right. Okay. Well, I think
and
on
finding it though, then they find it later.
Well, no, what they found was the CBS footage that was the best footage that they had got that had been shot back from NASA, right? That was pushed out to CBS, and they found some CBS footage that was shot on some crazy low quality, frames per second and all
It's
that.
all terrible, yeah.
And then what they did is they gave it to some Hollywood people to bring it up into the what we just watched there with your footage there. They redid it all, and then they were like, see, we totally went. Look at the dune buggy that we tucked under our seat in the landing module and took to the fucking moon and unfolded it when we got to the moon and then just drove around. There you go.
Have you ever seen this video of the astronauts contradicting each other live?
Yes.
Where they're being interviewed and one of them is saying there's stars and the other guy goes, no, there weren't stars. And the guy goes, yeah, there weren't stars.
Really?
Yeah, dude. They're like contradicting.
I've never heard that.
You got to look up these idiots that NASA trots out, man. Buzz Aldrin his mom was named Moon. She died in the 60s. Don Pettit is an idiot, dude. That dude belongs on a short bus. Like the whole.
What do you guys think?
No,
I'm sorry, go
good. It's fine, man. I'm just repeating myself.
No, that's interesting. I did not know. I mean, I'm not deep into the moon conspiracy stuff. I know a little bit about it, but I know that like he's been hounded, like Buzz, and he's punched somebody out. I remember that video.
Yeah.
And
do you ever see? Okay, you guys got to look up Trump's State of the Union where he calls out Buzz, and the look on Buzz's face, he's just freaking out, dude. I think that Trump knows. I think every president knows we didn't go. I think that it's like just a big inside joke. The 2011 what is it called? White House Correspondents' Dinner, when Obama was like, all different things, like we didn't go to the moon, and he calls out Donald Trump, and that was supposedly the reason
Really?
Trump ran. You got to look at what the big players in the culture war say about this. It's what they show you in plain sight, and they always leave open plausible deniability, and they're mocking us, yo.
Yeah, right.
I think they're yeah.
Bill Clinton said something too along those lines.
that was a really good Obama impersonation, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I was impressed. I can only do Arnold.
I can only do, or I used to be
You're a
able to
fucking
do.
choir boy compared to me.
Oh, take it easy, Arnold. You're not even the governor of California anymore.
I can only do Dana Carvey's impression of Bush. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. No
Not
new
gonna do
taxes.
it. Yeah,
Read
even I
my
know that
lips.
one, yeah.
Not gonna do it.
Yo,
That's
okay,
funny.
so dude just says in the chat, like, not one of them would swear on the Bible. Yeah, there's, I mean, they were accosted. I mean, if someone came up to me saying you have to swear on the Bible and I'm gonna invade your personal space, I probably would not do what they say. But they, he did. That's when Buzz punched the guy out.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
this
gonna read-
story. I love talking about it.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. I want to talk a little bit about Edgar Mitchell. Is that his name? Do you guys know about him?
No.
Edgar Mitchell. He's another astronaut, Apollo astronaut, and he had some pretty crazy stories about seeing, and he's been very open about seeing what he called glass domes on the moon. Excuse me. Somebody asked, I was going to read one of these comments. Jacob Leary, if we really went, why does the supposed astronauts get so violently pissed when asked about if we really went there? Oh, okay, he's talking about that too.
Yo,
That's true. Well, but he's getting hounded constantly by these people. So like,
no, I think these people are just broken liars that when you lie about something for this many decades, you breaks you. And
Yeah.
the whole thing with the Space Force, they're called the Guardians. This shit, it looks like it's basically the Star Trek logo. I think it's one big mockery of the populace. And they're
Well,
having
I'll
a
say this.
blast.
Yeah,
I'll
I
say
agree
this
with
about
you
the
on that. I am
logo. So the
totally with
logo-
you.
Well, look, I'll say that the Space Force. I'm okay with Space Force, and I like Space Force. I like Space Force idea
Well, it's
when
fun.
I was like a
It's
kid.
cool.
But well, look, let me say this too: that the logo, people are like, "Oh, it's the Star Trek logo." No, the Star Trek logo is actually was a logo based on an old Air Force logo or Air Corps. Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Air Force or Air Corps logo or something. And then so yeah, Star Trek actually copied an already existing military logo, and we've been using that logo on patches for a long time, like Air Force logos. So that's not really a big deal. But
Well, do you know
'cause
about
it was-
do you know about Warner von Braun? He was like really good friends with Walt Disney, and Walt Disney's logo is the firmament and the tower, which is supposedly the Tower of Babel, breaking out of the firmament. And
so what's the
someone just-
firmament?
That is the dome of the earth.
In the Bible.
It's the dome of the earth. Yeah, and in countless other
Yeah.
ancient
Ancient writings
and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the firmament is basically the enclosed Earth system. And I'm trying to check up with your chat. What's he put?
Well,
Ron
Pepper,
put scripture on. He put Psalms 9:12 on his gravesite, which is something about
Who did that?
That up. Warner von Braun, the
yeah.
head guy at NASA or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Operation Paperclip. We brought him over with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too. That all kind
Yeah,
of
it
fits
is.
into all of this because
I know.
the topic that we're talking about, because these scientists we know for a fact, working on some pretty high-tech stuff. I mean, nobody else had rockets that could do what they were doing. That's why we got them. And then he worked on, I mean, he's the reason that we got to the moon.
We didn't get to the moon.
Yes, we did.
No, we
Someday we'll go there.
didn't.
We can. Aren't there pictures of the landing site? Like,
Yeah, I wonder who
Yeah,
put
in
the stuff
Hollywood.
there. Oh no, that's the great point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. This is something that I don't understand why more people don't talk about. We can get literally some Mars monkey ass, ass hair picture of Mars, right? We can zoom right into Mars and look at all these great, awesome things on Mars.
well, we have orbiters.
Okay,
we have orbiters and
great.
we have.
Great, but we can't get so close to the moon with our freaking telescopes and whatnot. We can't zoom in to actually see the serial number on the side of the supposed landing modules that are there, or lunar modules that are left there. All we have are these sketchy ass looking bad Photoshop looking little tracks on the moon from the orbiter that went around the moon and was like, oh, see that little gray dot? Hang on, see that little gray dot right over there? That's the landing module. Can't you tell it's a landing module? Oh, and see those little tracks? That's where the moon dune buggy drove around. Isn't that cool, everybody? See, we went to the moon. To me, it's laughable.
Yeah, I mean, well, it could be. Well, that's one possible. You could be right, or it could be that, because I asked myself the same thing. It's like, we have such good technology at this point. Couldn't we have something orbiting the moon, taking some awesome like picture? Wouldn't that be a cool thing to have, like a really high res picture of the lander on the moon?
Yeah,
like,
that'd be awesome.
like why isn't Musk doing that, or somebody doing that? I would think
because there's none up there.
He shot a rocket into space with a car. Remember that? The
Right.
guy in the car. Like, so why don't we just put like? And I've always wondered that. Like, why hasn't there been like school projects to build a orbiter to the moon and take high res pictures of the moon? Like, it should be fairly easy, right?
Right.
The Japanese have everybody. So it makes me wonder if there is things on the moon they don't want to see. Is what I think. Because
the fact that it's fake.
Yeah.
No. There are a lot of like weird anomalies on the moon. People think they see like bases, and like it looks like bases and things like that. It could be. So look, here's another good example of that. So, and I've talked about this before, but Gary McKinnon, he's a British hacker back in the late 90s. He hacked into NASA computers, was looking for like files, pictures, whatever, and he was able to get like text files talking about like ship-to-ship transfers or something. I'm sorry, ship-to-ship transfers and non-terrestrial officers. And he said that he saw pictures half downloaded because they were high res, and he was at like 9600 baud at a dial-up, right, in the late 90s. He saw half downloaded pictures of what he said it was clearly like the Earth, and then like what looked like giant aircraft carriers like in orbit. So like Stargate might be close to being right, actually. Stargate SG-1 might be close to getting it right. And so the US government's been trying to extradite him ever since to this day. But
really?
yeah, the British government will not let him go. That's
Yeah,
true story. It's real. Google it.
Sometimes I just think we've been under British control. Like we never really
The whole damn time.
Like if you go back to the city of London and to the Vatican, I mean, there's arguments that Rome really never fell, yo. That they've just been in control this whole time. So this stuff.
We're still in Rome. We're still in Rome.
Some people say that. Some people that have said that
that'd be pretty cool.
That the Vatican has basically been in charge for 1,500 years at least.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, it looks like that right now.
Yeah. And the Pope right now is the Antichrist.
I mean, there's 3 places in the world. If you think about Washington, D.C., the city of London, so not London, there's 2 Londons. There's London proper, and then inside of London is something called the City of London. It's 1 square mile, and that's the financial district. D.C., the City of London, and the Vatican are 3 cities in control of some of the most powerful countries in the world, and they basically have their own jurisdiction inside of those superpowers, and a lot of the just big conspiracies go back to those places, and they're allowed to basically operate with impunity, controlling people. So I get what people are talking about. I haven't looked into it that much, but the House of Windsor. Do you know that almost every president has is a blood relative of the royal family, including Obama?
Really? Oh yeah, I have heard that about Obama.
Crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah, so a lot
yeah,
of
you got to start to wonder that these aren't all coincidences.
Yeah, definitely not. No, yeah, definitely not.
There's enough circumstantial evidence to convict on a lot of these charges just by it's causation doesn't mean, or correlation doesn't mean causation or whatever, cause or reverse, whatever. But you get to a point where it's like, come on, man, there's so much circumstantial evidence. You just can't ignore it or turn the other way or say that it's just us and our freaking tinfoil hats that are making this stuff up. There's just too much, too much, man. It is a mountain. It is a mountain of evidence, and you hear. And the funny thing is that we know for a fact. Something that's been funny to me recently is, like, Robert Noir is a friend of SJG and I, and he was on a debate last night, the Hippie Dippy debate podcast or whatever it's called. Excuse me. And they were really ragging on him because he was debating with Destiny, if you're familiar with him. Yep. And it was a panel, but they were kind of butting heads, and he just basically called out Destiny, and I had a point and I completely forgot my point. I'm sorry. It's okay, man.
I completely lost my track of thought there. How
come we don't see you anymore? Did you just not want him to be seen? Were you puffing the magic dragon?
Wait. No, I do want to be seen. 1 second.
Because I thought you were like puffing the magic. Yesterday,
on some moon rocks, yo.
He was. Yeah. He was puffing on some moon rocks last night.
Ice. That's probably what did it.
He was puffing on some moon rocks last night, and I accidentally clicked over to him. He thought I was on a different camera, and it was just rejoining. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh no, I remember. So look, no, they tried to back Rob into a corner, and they were asking him why they thought, because he brought up the fact, they kept bringing up this point that more Republicans are dying of coronaviruses because they're ignorant. And they were kind of trying to make that point. And he's like, well, wait a second. And this other girl on there made the point. She's like, all the worst, highest death counts are in Republican controlled cities. And then I started spamming him with per capita things. I'm like, no, she's full of it. She's full of it. But Destiny tried to pin him down, and he brought up the fact that Cuomo, he sent old people to the nursing homes and they all died. And then they covered up the actual true number of people who were sent to the nursing homes. And that, that number of people who were sent there were in the ultimate, count of the number dead. And Rob was talking about this, and Destiny trying to nail him down. He's like, "Oh, why do you think that is, Robert? Go ahead and tell us. Why do you think that is?" And Robert's like, "Okay, well, I think he's either incompetent or they intended to do that because they wanted to raise the count." And it's like, yeah, anybody thinking about it, that's got to be it, because he brought up the point that everybody knew that the old were the most vulnerable, so why would you send them there, right? And he was like, and of course they all started calling him a conspiracy theorist. They were trying to shout him down. It's really cringe, like you said. Yeah. But it was funny because I kept saying in the chat, I'm like, none of them are going to answer you, Rob. None of them are going to answer your question, and they didn't. But
yeah. Man, this is there's so many psyops, yo. The whole thing is a big psychological operation.
It is
all of history, all the wars, like, space is fake, you know, like.
Well, I won't go that far. I'm with you on a lot of stuff, but I think the Earth is round, and I think that we are in real space and all that. But I'm with you to a point. Sure. Maybe I'm on the plan, and I'll get there.
That's eventually. How I am, and I'm like a little farther than Drone, where I'm like, hey, I'm with you. We didn't go to the moon, but I still think the Earth is round. I'm like, I can't get there. I can't get with you on that yet. But who knows, man?
That's fine.
But I do think. How about this, guys? How about this? How about Hollow Earth?
I don't really know what.
I don't know much about it either.
It really is, yeah.
So okay, I thought I had some notes here about it. Okay, well, I did want to throw this out there. So, are you guys familiar with remote viewing? Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a movie, Men Who Stare at Goats. I think it's kind of about
I've read
it.
The book too, yeah.
So it was a real thing. The U.S. government spent $20+ million, probably a lot more than that, on remote viewing. There was one guy in particular. His name was Pat Price, and he was part of the government's Project Stargate. It's called Stargate. It started in the 70s, ended in the 90s, which is odd. I didn't know it ended in the 90s. But this guy, Pat Price, was supposedly like the real deal. The CIA director at the time said that he was a man who could see what was going on anywhere in the world with his abilities. And that guy claimed that he saw underground bases all over the world that had aliens in them. And he even like pointed out mountains where they were under. And then he also claimed that they could control us, like motor control of us through mind control. Which, well, I don't know. And then he ended up dying in really odd circumstances. But,
of course he did.
Yeah, they all do, man. They all go dumb or dead in time. It's crazy. The people they trot out, they break their brains. It's amazing.
I know.
I never want to join NASA.
I know. And then, thinking about going kind of flipping back to the moon thing a little bit, back and forth off of that, is the astronauts that burnt up on that one test where they were in the capsule or whatever, and they burnt up when they were testing. It's like they were when you look into them, some of those people they surmise, or they think possibly we're having a problem with some of the shit NASA was feeding them. They're like, well, looks like you got to get burnt up. Sorry, you're not really? With the program. Then you're out of the program.
You know what?
Permanently.
We all know that the world is brutal, so it wouldn't be. I wouldn't really surprise me that much to find out that it really is that brutal. Like we're basically just lemmings for them to do with whatever. I wanted to mention that earlier, and I think that was actually my point earlier, is that the things that Rob was saying on that point specifically, that they would let people die, they would send people to die to increase the numbers to hurt Trump to get power back. Yeah. For one, I think that's absurd because they tried all kinds of crazy schemes, including, they used the Steele dossier to try to claim he was a Russian agent, and that actually turned out to be Russian disinformation. So those people actually, the media, the Democrats, and the people in the government were actually the ones disseminating Russian disinformation. But it's just crazy to me that Rob would say that, and they would be so dismissive of it, like his chat and everything. Yeah, the chat and the hippy dippy thing were like, Rob is insane, and they were on the stream. They were calling him an insane person.
Yeah, they just go to ad hominem.
Seriously,
they bait him just so they can then.
Let me finish this thought because I'll forget it. There was a couple like BLM type folks on there, and they were like so dismissive, and it's like, really, like you're dismissive that the government will kill its own citizens to benefit themselves in some way? Really? Like it just is funny to me these people are suddenly skeptical of that. Anyway, that was my point.
No, and it's funny because all of those people on that hippy dippy dipshit stream, all of them are just ad hominem. They try to bait him in. They try to bait Rob into saying something, and then they just go to the ad hominem attack, right? And Rob composes himself so well because he's so confident in what he believes and how to articulate it and in his intellect to where he lets them, and then he just fucking absolutely dunks on him. I called him yesterday. I was talking to Courtney when I was on his stream when it was going on. I'm like, you know what Rob's like? Rob is like the LeBron James of debating. He just dunks on these fools constantly, and he's amazing. He's amazing.
It was great.
And then they come back and like, oh, Rob, you're such a this and that. And it's like, defend your point. Don't just throw ad hominem attacks at Rob. Why don't you defend your point? Oh, that's right. You can't. You know, and
Steve, have you seen that, Ignoramus?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's on Twitch. If you look up Hippy Dippy, or I forget
should be called Dippy
He's
Shitty.
actually in my Discord right now.
What's his name?
Dippy Shitty.
Dylan Burns. He's on Twitch.
He's in your stream right now?
Yeah, that's the guy.
What is he?
He's in the Discord server, but he does. I'm sure he doesn't know I'm doing
this is from last night.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out. Everybody should check that out later.
6.5 hours.
Yeah, get up until the real fireworks are happening when they're debating the coronavirus stuff at the beginning, and it happens near the end of that section. So, if that'll help you. If you hate Destiny, you want to see this because he completely rips the shit out of Destiny.
All the time.
He made him look like a fool. I thought.
Yeah, and then Destiny
what's up with how people look now, man.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Look at just this crew of people up there.
Oh God,
people look so weird these days, man.
Yeah, they do, man. They do look weird. I agree. The one guy looks like, I don't want to say it. It's gonna sound really bad, but he kind of looks like an Ewok.
He does. You're talking about 100%. Joe? I think his name's Joe.
Joe Lewis, and he's such an asshole. He's such an asshole.
We gotta be careful though, guys. Hey, we can't say this about him because he is of a different skin color, so we cannot talk about him in a bad way at all.
I actually thought he was kind of a nice guy at first, but then the more I listened to him, I'm like, God, you're an idiot.
No, he is.
He's so condescending.
So condescending. And you know, I say that in jest because it's the most racist thing when people, if you have anything bad to say about somebody of a different skin color, you're automatically racist. When it's like, can you not understand the logic there that I can't just talk to another human being and tell them what I think of them, good or bad, and I don't give a shit what color their skin is, and you telling me I should care what color their skin is before I can say something shitty to them is that's not racism? I don't understand how people don't understand that very basic logical understanding of that. That just blows my mind all the time.
I don't. Are Ewoks suddenly Can I not compare a person to an Ewok?
No, you totally can. I thought I was talking about his intellect because his intellect is lacking.
They're not even a real thing. No, I'm just saying it's not like it's an age.
Allegedly, they're not a real thing. Allegedly.
Bro, you didn't know they found Ewoks on Mars, dude? We've been trying to get back since the 70s, bro. That's the secret. That's the big secret.
That's the secret juice, man. Oh crap, man! The whiskey's kicking in. I can feel my eyeballs getting warm. The back of my eyeballs getting warm, and that's a sign to me. Oh shit, Steve! Make sure you don't say anything stupid because the whiskey's kicking in.
Right? Yeah.
I'm just drinking water, dude.
I'm just drinking whiskey.
He's like, this is the Saturday night spirit stream. So
yeah, I didn't know that. I would have come prepped.
Yeah. You're like, oh, spirits. Oh, they're a religious stream.
Yes.
That's funny.
You know, hey, it's funny. I gotta dunk on myself for a second here. I put in my chat a second ago that I look like I have these little nicotine packets. They're Rogue, little flavored nicotine packets. And I'll put them in. I'll have one in my mouth when I'm doing streams, and they'll move. So then I have to try to readjust it. And I was watching myself because there's a delay on your stream, and I'm like, dude, I seriously look like a meth head right now because I'm all moving my jaw, trying to reposition the packet in my mouth, and I'm like, oh god, dang it! There's 100 people watching me in your stream, and I look like a meth head. Oh, that's terrible.
It's okay, man. At least you weren't like Giuliani during that press conference when the
Oh
brown
my
stuff
gosh,
started
it
using
was-
that.
When his
I
spray
couldn't
on
believe
tan.
my eyes when that happened.
Bro,
I couldn't believe it. I'm
wait.
like, I can't believe this is happening.
You ever see that one where he like he like blows his nose into his handkerchief and wipes
Oh.
his face with it after? You ever
Oh.
seen that?
Oh, yes,
so
it's all bad.
Oh, it's
I-
all
see,
bad.
I used to
I
love Giuliani,
personally
man. But
think stuff like that is borderline almost a psyop as well. I think they're messing
Yeah.
with us, dude.
Yeah.
I think they're messing with us so bad that they're just trying to have fun with it, and they all either get along or some
Yeah.
of them fight. But I just think it's a big psyop where they're just laughing at us.
Well, you know,
Well,
one thing about that too
you know
is
that particular incident, I'm surprised I didn't see more on Twitter about it at the time, but it was a lot like in the movie Fifth Element. Have you guys ever seen that?
oh
I
yeah.
love it.
Where the brown stuff starts oozing down their heads. That's kind of what it was. That's instantly what I thought of, and I thought for sure I was going to see it everywhere, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, Giuliani attained his true form. He just melts down to nothing. Just like, ah.
Giuliani, the funny
Everyone's
part
like, it's
that
not-
here's a crazy
yeah, I don't
psyop
know.
about Giuliani is that when 9/11 happened, Giuliani was dick deep in 9/11 and the cover up of 9/11. But now
What
all
about
of
the
a sudden,
dump trucks, Rudy? What
Yeah.
about the concrete dump
Right.
trucks, Rudy?
but now we're supposed to believe in 2019 and 2020 or 2021 that all of a sudden Rudy Giuliani is all about exposing the deep state, and he's gonna show everybody the truth behind the deep state and take the reveal all this when he was a active participant in it during 9/11. Give me a fucking break.
Dude is the deep state. He's as deep. He's almost as deep state as Bill Barr.
Mhm.
That was another joke. Bill Barr is
Yeah.
straight up deep state. Always has been, and that's why I don't like. I definitely prefer Trump to anyone that's ran in the last couple years, but to me, it's like Trump was involved too. I just don't know how. He was picking up people from the deep state, or he just made a mistake and didn't admit it. But it's really weird, the whole cast of clowns that come up in the media. It's so hard to figure out, yo.
I agree.
I was gonna respond to
kinda
Dalton.
baffling.
Let me respond to Dalton real quick. I was gonna put it in the text, but it'd be easier just to say it. Dalton Wade said, "If we faked it, another country would call us out so fast." I'm
Russia
assuming.
did.
Yeah. Well, Russia. Well, I'm thinking he's probably talking about the about 9/11 or about the moon landing. And my only
Yeah.
point to that is that no, they wouldn't. Number one, because we got all kinds of dirt and shit on them that we could call out on them. But also, when you get to the highest levels of the people that are keeping these secrets, there is no nation states. Everybody is on the same team. When you get to that level of the pyramid, that top of the pyramid, that's holding all. We're all on the same team. They're all on the same team. So that's I think what we need to start to understand is that the people that run the world, right? No. I disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that a couple years ago that Russia did say we didn't go to the moon.
they alluded to
I
it.
think They did. Yeah.
Yeah, they did allude to it.
I was trying to look up the actual quote and I couldn't find it.
I just read it
I don't
actually.
know.
Or there was you probably have to find it on the Wayback Machine because I think they've taken it. I think that's where I found it. But maybe it wasn't on the Wayback Machine. But yeah, they did allude to the fact that they didn't come right out and say we faked it, but they essentially said did something like, "Hey, how would you guys have done this?" And they dropped some information that was like made people go, "What?" Hey, that was like a year ago. You're right, a year and a half ago.
In the butt. Yeah. Hey,
What?
nice shirt by the way, SJG.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right.
What does
It's
it
one of
say?
my favorite. My daughter
Well,
loves
guys,
this shirt.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up just because we're getting a little long. I said about an hour and 15 minutes right now.
We're just getting started.
You guys,
I'm just getting my
That
buzz
was a
going, damn
blast.
it.
I love chilling with you guys. I love talking about this stuff.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we can keep after the stream if people want to come in and hang out with us, and if you want to hang around or anyone wants to hang around and chat, we'll still do that on Discord. But if you guys want to go one at a time and just kind of direct people to your channel and give your closing thoughts on tonight. Oh, real quick, your hat, Steven Ignoramus.
Yes.
What's that about?
That is the Sasquatch. I don't.
Oh, I know that. David
Yeah,
Patterson.
I don't remember where I got it. People were asking about it in the chat. I'm trying very
You
hard
just
to
wore it
remember
for the
where.
stream?
I wear it almost every day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love conspiracies. They're like I'm so happy to be here talking about this stuff with you guys because it's one of my favorite things to get into. But
Mine too.
I don't know how I feel about Squatch, but it's just I like having fun with it. So
Yeah.
the mainstream
man.
thing
I
is
do too.
the mainstream thing is just so boring and tired and surface level.
Yeah.
That getting into the deeper stuff is what I'm all about.
Yeah.
For sure. And everybody should head on over there and check him out because he's a target. He has definitely been targeted.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So
go follow him. And
I stream at Ignoramus Media right now, and I'm in the chat right now. So if you guys click on my avatar or whatever, you'll be able to see where I stream. But I stream 7 days a week. I do Christian stuff on Sundays, and I do the daily Ignoramus weekdays, and this kind of either an interview or two a week. Pretty Googleable these days. So thanks for coming. This was an awesome live chat. You guys are awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
this was
awesome,
fun.
man. Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's fun. I want to do this more, but I know if we keep going, we could just probably go like this for like another hour, and like we pretty much got over the topic that we wanted to. But go ahead, SJG.
Yeah, so I think most everyone on your maybe knows me, maybe doesn't, but you've added quite a few since I think we've done a stream together. But sjgperspective.com is where you can subscribe to my website, and then on YouTube it's SJG Perspective on YouTube, and D Live is also SJG Perspective. It's pretty much just SJG Perspective anywhere. So I mean, if you Google that, but I would say
You do parodies.
I do a lot of
parodies.
do a lot of parodies. I do some original stuff music wise, and then I just have been doing streams. And in the past I was talking a lot about cultural stuff, like like the cultural Marxism type stuff and postmodernism type stuff and just saying how I think that's so terrible for our culture and society. Then I will cover stuff that I find interesting in the news, but lately I've been doing live streams just talking about the hoax behind the whole CV stuff and the Paul Charlie Roberts testing protocols and how that's all just bunk and around that. So I've been doing a lot of stuff on that, but I think I'm going to start doing more along the lines of kind of what we were talking about tonight, because it's more fun. You can still tie it back to current events, and I think of waking people up to the fact that these major psyops that have been played over us for years and years and years have got us conditioned to a place that now we just trust so much what the government says, and there's so much cognitive dissonance in our mind that we can't really fathom how deep the rabbit hole goes. So I'm going to start jumping more into some of the older conspiracy theories, the moon landing, Laurel Canyon. I'm going to do a series on Laurel Canyon. That's really interesting. I'm going to do one on 9/11. I'm going to do one on these kind of different things that I find interesting and I think have real world or current world event ramifications. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, everybody should go. I've been following SJG Perspective for years now, and I love his stuff, so you should check him out. And I've just started looking at Steve Ignoramus' stuff. But you should go check him out too. Seems like a great guy, and hope you can come back, man. We'll do this again.
Yeah, anytime, dude. This is a blast. Hilarious times.
Yeah, weird topics. That's maybe the theme from Saturday for Saturdays here on out. So, thanks everybody for being here and watching. I know my live streams are just kind of a cluster, but I'll get good at it eventually. Maybe.
Hey, before you go, and I still just have Steven right here. Steven, will you message me directly in Discord, and let's connect and set up a time to do a stream together too. So
100%,
again,
man, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Got a fellow moon truther.
That's true.
Yeah, we got to think of the next topic. And we'll do another weird one next weekend or something.
Laurel Canyon, that's the one thing that, well, I don't know if it's interesting enough, but Laurel Canyon is pretty interesting to talk about in the sense of the hippie scene, the music scene that came out. It all came out of Laurel Canyon, and there's a big belief behind it that it was a psyop. A lot of it was also kind of an orchestrated psyop to create distraction and division among Americans with the hippie music, like the Doors music and all that, the Mama Papas,
Wouldn't
all that
surprise
kind of
me.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
60s were just a never-ending psyop.
They were.
Anything with like free secularism is gonna be. They want to push it on people.
Yeah.
They want to destroy the family. They want to destroy God in society. It started in the 60s.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Look into everything with what's his face, the serial killer. He was
Manson?
a government asset. Manson.
Yeah.
They were feeding him acid and stuff, man.
MK
Like
Ultra,
that's crazy.
man. Yeah, MK Ultra.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
well,
a
that's
Unabomber
so-
as well. All
Yeah,
kinds
the
of stuff.
Unabomber.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say
Unabomber.
the Unabomber.
Maybe that'll
yep.
be the maybe that we'll get into that next
Oh, we
week.
should talk MK Ultra next time.
Yeah,
let's
MK
do it.
Ultra. Yeah,
Let's do it. We can,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we can do that for sure.
yeah, that'd be fun.
And also, real quick, do you play Steven Ignoramus? Do you play any games or anything? Any gaming?
Not
Just
really.
wondering.
I mean, I would though. I mean, I kind of quit because I got into music, but I would to talk crap and play games. Sounds awesome.
Cool, man. Yeah, we might do that. We have like gaming nights and stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
we'll do something.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It was
All right.
fun. We'll do
Later.
this again. Good night.
There you go.
Good night. So
Thanks, guys. That was great.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, SJG. I just DM'd you on Discord.
Okay, perfect. Oh, there you are.
Hope that's you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm down to come on anytime.
Okay,
Great.
man.
Yeah, sorry, that was a little rough, but actually, as bad as that was like one of my best. So
That was great.
There you
Fun, man. Yeah.
No, dude, that
like
was
one of the most coherent ones.
dude, that was fun. Dude, that was like refreshingly fun to do. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm done with the stress for a little while.
I am, dude. I'm so done with all this fucking following the news shit and all that. Like, it's all a fucking psyop. So it's like the only reason to cover it is to like, if you're only gonna point it out to say,
Spread
look,
their psyop.
yeah, this is a complete psyop. Like, this is a complete psyop. In fact, I don't know. I mean, I know you have been like with your library of calling out the hypocrisy. Maybe you should start switching with your followers and your video, your normal content to start saying, hey, look at the psyop of what they're doing to you. Instead of trying to get people woke up to the hypocrisy, you do what you want. But I'm just saying, I think you have such a great platform to start shifting the narrative to say, instead of all the hypocrisy, say, look at the psyop, guys, that is taking place with all of us right now. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's where I'm into right now.
Well, I agree. You know what it is though? It's just like when you go to make a video, it's like stepping outside what you're comfortable with is rough sometimes, and it's harder to.
But I think
make
what you
content,
do, you don't have to change. You just have to change. You do exactly what you've been doing, but you, instead of just talking about just the hypocrisy, you're like, you could tie it into like the illusion that we're being fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, do the same content, same videos, same call outs, but I don't know that you do you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
Where are you from, Steven Ignoramus?
Originally Michigan. But
Okay.
I lived in DC for 10 years. I
Okay,
lived in
nice.
DC from 2010 to October 2020 and got
Okay.
out right in time.
Oh, dude, by the way, we're still live on
Nice.
mine,
Yeah.
so let's not say anything stupid.
No, we're not. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. It
No,
should be
we're
done.
good. We're good. No, we're on mine. I'm streaming too, so we're still
Oh,
streaming
okay.
out on mine.
Hey, I'm a high state Buckeye, born and bred, man. So.
Oh, cool. That sucks, man.
Hey, it was a good night, guys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate
All
That
right.
was awesome. Yeah, I'm down to come on either of you guys' show anytime. You guys are
Yeah.
welcome on mine as well.
it. Yeah, anytime, man. Let me know.
All right. Yeah.
If you guys want to
have a
hang
good night.
around or whatever, I'm gonna move into the weird chat channel, and I'll just funnel people in there if they want to hang out or whatever. But it's up to
Oh
you.
yeah, I'm gonna take off.
All right, later.
Good
All right.
night,
Later, guys.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you. Peace.
All right. So that was my show with Drone Tech and Steven Ignoramus. That was fun. That was fun, right, guys? I felt it was fun. It's still us just hanging out, man, here for a little bit longer. But I forgot I was streaming there for a while towards the end. But, oh, man, it was Ewoks are Wizards of Oz Space Munchkins. Yeah, that was fun. I really, you're blowing my mind whole. What is that? The Cromwell? And they paired up with the Wookiees. Plus, they figured out how to understand a language they never heard before pretty darn quickly. I think I'm behind on this whole new theory that is it the Ewoks were? Yeah, they're the largest animals on the Force Moon. How would they know how to take out something that large? God bless them. Thanks for the live. Good show, even though I came in late. Oh, good to see you, CJ Mouse. I mean, besides the trees. Sorry. Buckeyes, Southern Indian here. No, yeah, that was super fun. And like I said, I told you guys this last night too that we're here. That's what I'm going to start, I think, focusing on. I mean, is like my series on the Wagging the Moondoggy and things like that. You know, it was funny because I was going to touch on this subject right here, but I didn't get to read this. But when we were talking about the pictures earlier, let me read this little clip. We're probably not going to go super long because I probably should get in here pretty soon to, I'm going to go back here so it's smaller, and then I'm going to make my article window. Sorry, guys. This one here. Okay. So this is from David McGowan, Wagging the Moondoggy. The guy is amazing. If you guys have not read this series, I don't want to spoil what my series is going to be, but if you guys wanted to do a little, go ahead homework, look up David McGowan. I'll put this in the chat. This is the link of what I'm reading right now, but it's his website. He's dead, but dude, he has got, this is what I'm going to be doing basing my series on. And I think basically I'm just going to read his articles and then obviously interject my own commentary from here and there, and then put pictures and whatnot in as it correlates. But this was halfway through this article. I think it's, what episode is this of his series? Is that 4? Yeah, that's 4. So part 4 talks about the pictures, right? Well, it just so turns out David was an amateur, semi-pro amateur photographer too. So he had he could speak to this pretty well. But let me read this couple paragraphs. The problem for the astronauts is that the cameras, let me read back here. Back in the day, you see, and the younger readers may again want to cover their eyes, cameras weren't all that smart, so everything had to be done manually. The photographer had to manually focus each shot by peering through the viewfinder and rotating the lens until the scene came into focus. The proper aperture and shutter speeds had to be manually selected for each shot as well to ensure a proper exposure. That required peering through the viewfinder as well to meter the shot. Finally, each shot had to be properly composed and framed, which obviously also requires looking through the viewfinder. The problem for the astronauts is that the cameras were mounted to their chests, which made it impossible to see through the viewfinder to meter, frame, and focus the shots. Everything, therefore, was pretty much a guess. Focusing would have had to have been entirely guesswork, and would be the framing of the shot. An experienced photographer can accurately estimate the exposure settings, but the astronaut lacked such experience, and they were also handicapped by the fact that they were viewing the scenes through the heavily tinted visors, which meant that they were what they were seeing was not what the camera was seeing. To add to their troubles, they were wearing space helmets that seriously restricted their field of vision, along with enormously bulky pressurized gloves that severely limited their manual dexterity. The odds then of getting even one of 3 elements, exposure, focus, and framing, correct under the conditions on any given shot would have been exceedingly low. And yet, amazingly enough, on the overwhelming majority of the photos, they got all 3 right. A rather self-important gent by the name of Jay Winley, one of the most prominent of the NASA-approved debunkers, attempts to spin all this away on his website, clavius.org. According to Winley, the exposures were worked out ahead of time based on experimentation. The ASA and ISO ratings of the film was known, and the NASA photographers pre-computed the necessary exposures. In many cases, the camera settings for planned photos were given to the astronauts on their cuff checklist. No shit, Jay. Did they send an advanced team to the moon to do the experimentation? Because the lighting conditions on the moon are pretty unique, as well as you know, and nobody had ever been there before. So I'm not really seeing how NASA photographers were able to work the exposures out ahead of time. And what planned photos are you referring to? How did they know what they were going to photograph before they even knew what was there? They knew they were going to take photos of each other, I suppose, and of the flag and the lander, but they would have had no clue how those things were going to be lit. And it's the lighting, not the subject, that primarily determines the exposure settings. So there's just a little clip of David McGowan, and some of his debunking. And each one of these articles is going to take, if I was just to read it, would take 30 minutes. So they'll be hour episodes. And I think what I'm going to do on these, for anybody who's here and still gives a shit, I'm going to record them ahead of time, and then I'm going to premiere them. And then, because then I can put all the pictures and the editing how I want to. And then after the end of the premiere, I will go live, and then we can discuss it, and we can go over it, and maybe do call-ins. That's kind of what I'm thinking my show format's going to be. I think that'll be fun. I think that'll gain traction, and I think we can start getting more people interested in coming in. Even if they want to try to debunk and they want to try to blow down everything I'm having to say, that's fine. We can do that. But that's kind of where I think my focus is. And then I'm going to do one on Laurel Canyon, 9/11, Boston bombing. And I'm going to use Devian McGowan because I really like his style. I like the way he writes. I like the way he thinks. And so that's what we're going to do going forward. I'll still do my occasional, what's going on in the news. And then I'm also wanting to try to come up with some funny parodies to do, both song parodies and then also just like little comedic skits. So that's what SJG has on the plate for what I'm going to be doing going forward a little bit. So, like you are sitting in some kind of pool. Do I? It's funny. Yeah, it's my background. I know I kind of do, right? With the that's funny. I do sort of look like that. I did have this down here below before, so it kind of offset that circle, but then I brought it back up. So, yeah, I'm sitting in the pool of truth. Sitting in the pool of truth. Firebird. Freebird. Not Firebird. Freebird. Called you Firebird, meant Freebird. Okay, so let's go over to DeLive, because I think I got some money donated to me. I don't know how much. Do we have enough to put in the chest? Oh, I might have, I don't, because I have to add 50 and I only got 48. Somebody donate an ice cream to me. I'm going to give it right back to you, but whoever's in the chat up there, donate me an ice cream. Donate me an ice cream, because then I'm going to put it in the chest and give it back to you guys, because I'm at 48 right now. I need at least 50 to be able to put it in the chest. Give, and it will come back to you. Oh, she donated 2 ice cream. Lacey Peasy did. She's all about it. Let it update here. Let it update, Lacey Peasy. Lacey Peasy's given 20 to get 50, I think is what she's shooting for right now. She's given 2 ice cream. Come on. Why won't it come on. There we go. There we go. All right. So we're going to put that in here. All right. All righty then. We're going to distribute. We're going to distribute. Lacey Peasy was the big winner last night. She got all 49 or 50 of the lemons that were donated. So let's see what she pulls off tonight here over in DLive. If you guys aren't over on DLive, I got 5 people watching me on YouTube. Great to have you on YouTube, but I really would love to see everybody start going to DLive. I'm telling you, just subscribe and put the app on your phone. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if she gets it back. Lacey Peasy, and La Crema the 13th. Is that 13? Is that am I doing the right? La Crema the 13th. She gets 20. Lacey Peasy gets 34. That's what I'm about. I'm about giving it back. But what I was going to say is those people over on YouTube, man, if you haven't downloaded the DLive app on your phone, you should go and do it. And then you should find SJG Perspective and subscribe. You'll never miss a notification, which is beautiful. You never miss a notification. And you will, the streaming is just, we can say whatever we want. I am trying to transition everybody over to DLive. DLive. Leave YouTube in the dustbin of history and go to DLive, man. We just want to get rid of YouTube. But I keep YouTube right now because it's where the majority of my people are. My peeps are from. But it's way better. It's way better over on the DLive side. Oh, look at my hand. It's all like glitchy. My lighting's off on this one. Looks like. Yeah, my lighting's off there. Don't have my green screen settings set perfect, but I'll go back to my regular settings too here eventually. I like to do the green screen once in a while. So, is it? Yes, it is. CJ Mouse. It is in the Play Store. It is. And it's so much better, man. I'm telling you. Sign up, go over there, and download it. And I know you're fading. It is in the Play Store. Download the DLive app. You'll always get your notifications. It's primarily a streaming app. As you gain followers over there, you get to different tiers as a content creator. Then your content stays up longer. Right now, as it is, my replays stay up for like 3 days, and then they get erased. But you can always find my replays forever on Odyssey or Library LB. Let me put it in here actually. If this is also in the Play Store, LBRY. That if you look up that address or that app in the App Store, Play Store, Library, which is basically Odyssey, which is IODY. I can't talk and spell. Odyssey is also another thing, kind of like YouTube is, but it's decentralized and censorship free. So all of my YouTube videos, when I put them up on YouTube, automatically get uploaded onto odyssey.com. And if you want to follow that, you would download the app Library, LBRY. And then obviously I always stream live. When I'm streaming live, I stream live to DLive and YouTube and Twitch and Periscope and, where are these other ones too. But why not 6 feet in masks? Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wind it up there. The wife's calling me, and I'm kind of tired anyways. I'm going to go watch a movie. So we will see you guys. We will see you guys later. And until next time, it is SJG Perspective. We'll talk to you real soon. You guys have a good night. Bye. Hey, babe.